Welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines. And as we do at this time every week, we are going to talk about the round of NRL that's just been played. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
Yeah, okay.
Why have you got that ugly thing on?
Because you've got that ugly thing on.
Yeah, but you didn't know I was wearing this ugly thing before you put that ugly thing on.
But I reacted to that ugly thing with this.
And why? Are you serious? You should be embarrassed.
I'm proud of my team.
Stick solid.
You should be ashamed.
I'm proud of my team.
Really?
And I'm glad that you're proud of your team.
We can discuss specifics later if you like.
I'm sure it's not really a game you want to talk about, but okay, we can. So, gentlemen, Todd Payton is the new Cowboys coach?
Oh, it's been confirmed. Good.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. The Warriors are spitting chips.
So what happens when I worked all day? I didn't even know.
Well, no, but the Warriors had an opportunity to sign him.
No.
He knocked it back.
He did.
Which you know what, I was actually thinking that's actually a pretty brave move. Because head coaching jobs at an NRL club don't come around often. And I know that there were five coaches sacked this year.
He had a lot of self-belief.
Do you think he knew though there was something?
I think personally, I think that he would have been a good fit for the Dragons. Only because I think they need a coach that is willing to put something other. Sorry, let me go back a half step. I think the Dragons are playing like a team. The only focus that they have is what they do on the field.
Yeah.
And so when something goes wrong, it implodes, and they can't put it back together. And Todd Payton has got the Warriors believing in themselves, and he knocked back the job for something more important than rugby league, because family is.
Yep.
And so,
although he may have already known, they may have already had discussions.
It's a long way down the track from when he rejected that job to now, though.
And he was an assistant at the Cowboys too.
He did have an opportunity then to lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Warriors weren't winning, would he still be afforded that opportunity? Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that was a really gutsy move.
He's had a pretty good audition, hasn't he? For the
Absolutely.
last few weeks.
Absolutely.
So Andrew Voss comes out this week and says that the Broncos deserve the wooden spoon.
Oh,
who said that? Andrew Voss.
Andrew Voss.
Thank you, Vossi. I agree.
I think that's a harsh thing to say.
I agree.
It's a tough thing to say, but
it's not.
They're defensive. I mean, especially after again letting the Roosters put 58 on them again.
Look, in reality, they probably are the worst team, and therefore should be getting the wooden spoon. I think that's a correct statement. I think to say it boldly like that is, especially if you're a commentator.
Their for and against is like 300 plus.
300
negative.
Minus,
yeah.
Like more than 300 in the negative. Like they're absolutely atrocious. They won their first two games of the season, and that's it. Like look
at the Dogs did this week in the first half, and they don't deserve to be on the bottom.
No, the Broncos have had 523 points scored against them this year.
Yep.
So and only scored 222. So it's
the thing is with the Broncos that the talent in their team. Like honestly, like we're sitting here as three very proud supporters of our team. And if the majority of those players out there on the field came up, you'd seriously want your club to have a look at them. I do.
Some of them.
Yeah, but I said the majority. Like, who wouldn't want, like, Katoni Staggs at their club?
That's right.
Or we won't go...
Or for Fafita or...
Yeah.
Penhas.
Like, they have got players there at their club that should be absolutely smashing it.
Yeah. Well, look at what George Ellis has done since Pay's been gone. I mean, Pay bred a tough defensive attitude, but they couldn't score any points.
Yep.
Well, since he's been gone, they've actually looked more likely to win games.
Yeah.
And it's been disappointing they haven't been able to nail them. But it sometimes it changes what you need.
And I'm surprised that once Seabold left, that there wasn't a better performance from the. I mean, if he was the problem, you would have thought they would have put more effort in.
Yeah, but Peter Gentle is one of his minions, and so nothing's really changing, Peter Gentle doesn't strike me as head coach material. So
yeah, but that being said, Todd Payton was around at 3 or 4 clubs, then went to the Warriors and was was sitting under Stephen Kearney. Like you could have said, Stephen Kearney's team, I had nothing to do with this,
Yeah.
but he turned it around within 2 weeks, and they've
Well, it shows that
they've looked.
it shows that he's a head coach though, and Peter Gentle isn't.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
You know.
All right. So, gentlemen, let's go on to the to round, what was it, 16 that we just had played. There's only 4 rounds to go before the semi start. Year's going quick. Actually, this would have been the weekend of the last round of the regular season
Oh,
had
wow.
we not had COVID and all that sort of stuff interfere. So,
Wow.
yeah. Okay, so on Thursday night, South beat the Eels 38-0. I was stunned by this figure.
Yep.
I was stunned last week when we were 38-0 in front at halftime, but to be 22-0 at halftime against Parramatta, who is apparently one of the better defensive clubs,
And not to score a point.
and not to score a point. And,
Well,
and
I wouldn't.
surely,
I wouldn't have expected the Rabbitohs to hold them to 0. I would have
Neither
thought
would-
they'd
no,
let a few
me neither.
points in, but maybe that. I mean, maybe it not only says the fact that the Rabbitohs are playing well, but how badly the Eels are going as
well,
well.
we've been saying for the last 4 or 5 weeks that the Eels haven't really been that impressive,
No.
but they've been winning. You know, they beat Melbourne 14-0,
Yeah,
but Melbourne had a lot of players out.
Yeah,
No, I didn't think
Both-
that was a good.
you know,
both the Camerons out. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right, it wasn't a good performance, but they managed to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, they've scraped through with some wins against some of the lesser clubs, but
Yeah. I just want to know why Adam Reynolds took his kicking boots off.
why?
Yeah, why?
He missed
What
it.
do you mean? He missed a couple.
He didn't miss any the week before.
Would it have made much of a difference to miss any the week before?
It would have made a difference this week because it would have made last week's. See, I sent a message to Steve at half time and said, well, kind of puts last week into perspective. I mean, Manly, we all know that Manly's are playing well, but Parramatta are sitting in the top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Souths to come out and do this, that was a statement.
Yep.
That was a statement and a half.
And I look, I don't want this to be true, but I remember in 2014,
Yes.
I think it was Gus Gould probably said, you know, some teams just announce themselves around about this point in the season, and you know, well,
Yeah.
I still think you're a long way off with the
Oh, so
premiership.
do I.
It was a pretty big statement 2 weeks in a row.
It'll be interesting to see what happens this week against Melbourne to be able to say whether Souths have got premiership credentials or not.
Yep.
Latrell Mitchell was playing a fabulous game.
Yeah, he was.
He truly was.
Taking that ball
Brian,
out
you
of
don't
the
agree?
in goal.
Oh, I do. I've been thinking about this, you see. I don't think Latrell is one of the best fullbacks at the moment. I
He
think
was never going to be.
Yeah, but he's certainly a match winner. But I think there's a whole heap of next. I don't want to say next tier because I really rate him. Like someone like Dylan Edwards at Penrith, rate him. He's safe under the high ball. He organises defence. He hits the line. Corey Allen is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Well,
He is
yeah.
he is nothing. He's not a Teddy or a Tommy or a Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He is a dead set legitimate first grader that should be in that team. And the thing is, next week I don't even know who will be because Alex Johnson will be back.
And they,
So will Gagai, I believe.
Alex Johnson should be playing really.
Well, Corey Allen does nothing wrong when he's at fullback, and he certainly proved it
But
again
he's
there.
only had one game at fullback.
But he came
This year.
into the team originally as a fullback.
He
and never
came
got
in
to
as
play
well.
there.
He's represented Australia as a fullback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got ability.
There's no doubt he's got ability. Look, you're right, Tom. That run that Latrell did from
At the in goal.
yeah.
Sensational, and what that led to, I mean, they got up 50 metres up the field. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I loved it, but I don't think that to me doesn't say that South because Parramatta weren't good. Parramatta didn't put up a
You
fight.
play who's in front of you,
You play what's in front of you,
and that surprised everybody.
and Reynolds and Walker had their best game of the year. So,
Even Damien Cook, I thought was good running out of dummy
I was
half.
going to say I thought Reynolds and Cook were better the week before, but everybody else was better this week.
so, look, let's just see how they go next week.
Yeah.
Okay, Friday night we saw the Titans beat the St George Dragons 14-10, and honestly, 10 minutes ago St George had this one.
Wrapped up.
I honestly think so.
Again, another team has got belief at the moment. Even if they lose the game, they've got belief they can win it.
Yep.
And they pulled it out of the fire there. AJ Grimson was sensational.
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing. There's another fullback that's absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
They're just going great.
Mm.
I don't know what to say. And what do you say about the Dragons? Like the last 2 weeks, was it Parramatta they had on the ropes last week?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, the week before. And then Titans this week. So they've had teams like just ready to give them that knockout punch and have fallen over.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with them. That's actually quite sad if you're a Dragons supporter.
Yeah, it's not good for Dan Young either.
They're hanging in there, and I think they've looked very good since just a bit before McGregor was departing, but they just haven't been able to put it together.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting part. Titans only had 46% possession
Right.
for the game, and Dragons had the majority of the territory. They should have won it. They had more ball, they had more territory, but it fell apart in the last 10 minutes.
St George had 91% completion as well.
Pretty damn good.
So it's like they didn't do anything wrong. It's just the team beat them.
Yeah. So what do the Dragons do? We should actually discuss this because these teams are out of the A.
Yep.
What do the Dragons do to fix their problem? Is it the coach? Is it a...
They've got to bring in a coach now. There's talk that they could have signed Welsh from Melbourne, but he's not going there because they don't know who the coach is going to be.
To replace Frizzell, probably.
Yeah.
We'll take
He'd be a
Welsh
good
from
get.
Melbourne.
Welsh would be a good get.
Yeah, well, no, I think he's
good.
Well, last I heard, he's going to stay with the Storm, but they approached him, and one of the questions was, "Who's the coach?" They couldn't tell him. So
Yeah, but in saying
that's going to be a question that every player going to St George or being asked to go to St George is going to ask: Who's your coach going to be?
Yeah, but is it their forwards that are losing these games? I mean,
They're a young pack. Host, forward.
They've got a few players on the sideline as well, like everybody else, but
Not in the big positions though. I mean, I think Norman's still a bit of a liability, unfortunately.
he is.
He is.
Do you think the Jack DeBellin thing is still weighing on them?
It's hard to tell, isn't it? And it's not, he's not going to get him this year. So, and is his contract up this year?
Yeah.
Right.
This year or next
So
year?
he's basically not a Dragon. He won't be a Dragon. Once his court case comes up.
Well, that's another whole thorn in everybody's side, I think. I think our legal system works too slow to have a no-fault stand down.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, although I agree with it in principle, we're now looking at, it's been 2.5 years since he's played a game, and I know at Manly, Mansi Fanoa is still pleading innocent, still saying it's a case of mistaken identity, and I don't know what to do. I mean, his court case isn't due to July next year.
Oh,
that's ridiculous.
And the incident happened at the beginning of the season, didn't it? Or was it late
last year.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is working out, this no fault thing. Okay, let's go on to Sydney Cricket Ground on Friday night as well, where the Roosters beat the Broncos 58-12.
Now we're talking about statements, 38-0. 58-12. Holy dooly.
Look,
But they were playing the Broncos.
Yeah, I couldn't have imagined we'd put on another score exactly the same.
No, considering it was 59-0, 5-6 weeks ago.
Yep.
And now they've got 58-12.
And if you think about it, the Katoni Staggs try was a breakaway from an error.
Yep.
And David Fafita was just monster.
He was just
a monster.
David Fafita,
Just
yeah.
David Fafita. I mean, you had to stand and applaud that. That was just a terrific try.
Your first try was a double movement though, so it should have only been 52-12.
Anyway, whatever.
It was. 52-12. If you'd said that before the game, you would have taken it.
Oh yeah, that makes it sound a lot better for the Broncos. Look, I thought Tupanu was fantastic. I think Kyle Flanagan was dropped because he wasn't taking the line on. That was one of the complaints.
Yep.
And the second try to Tupanua, he went inside, and I kept thinking, kick it at Tubes, because on the left, on the right-hand side. And he decided to double back, go into the line, and throw it to Tupanua. And I thought that was a really mature move. I thought that was a real sign of maturity. Morris Brothers again. Lord, Tupou was fantastic. Off, the first week back after an ankle injury, he just looked like he'd never been away. You know?
There's an article in today's paper that says that Angus Crichton will have to take a severe cut at his next contract if he wants to stay at the Roosters.
Sure.
Because they're angling for Tripanua first.
Right.
Oh, hopefully, he can have a cut and come to Manly.
Well, interesting. Trent Robinson said that he said what I love about this club is when the boys came back in, Angus Crichton said to Trent, "How good was Satilli tonight?"
Yeah.
Because it's his position. You know, he's taking his spot at the moment,
Yeah.
and it was fantastic. So look, it's always good to watch your team score a lot of points. And
So-
yes, and that was the Broncos.
At half time, it was 24-6. And I thought, Broncos weren't too bad.
Yeah.
You know,
They weren't in it.
Yeah.
They weren't looking at a 58-point
Yeah,
thrashing.
yeah. You'd
But
think they would have ran with
they
him a
weren't
little
in
bit.
it, but Darius Boyd had a very mixed game. There was some times that he seemed to run away from the ball as opposed to trying to attack the ball.
I mean, the Nat
So-
Butcher try was soft ass. He picked it up 40
Right.
metres out and ran through a half a dozen of them and then ran straight past Darius Boyd. So that was
Yep.
a really soft try. But look, good to see your team score points, and and the Trent Robinson, and I don't actually think that we were that great, honestly.
You were better than you were the week before.
Oh, absolutely. And Trent Robinson said, "We're getting better." That's all
Yep.
he said. He said, "I'm not happy." He said, "I'm not happy with a lot of things." He said, "You don't look at the scoreline, you look at, are you getting better?" And he said, we're getting better a bit.
Okay, let's go to Scully Park on Saturday afternoon, where the Warriors beat the Knights 36-6. Now, this was one that I unbelievable. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not surprised they won, but to win by such a margin against the Knights, who are, let's face it, I don't think they're going to win the premiership this year, but we all thought they were going to be top six.
It was one try each until in the 20th minute, and there was no other score until half time.
Yep.
And the Warriors scored all their points in the second half.
And Roger
I know what
had
that
a
says.
superb game.
He did. It just, I don't know. Todd Payton said that he thought it's because they're all, other than Roger, who doesn't have his family there, virtually every other player has his family with them. And so they're actually meeting for barbecues and all kinds of things, family, and they're actually starting to gel as people.
Yep.
And he said that's finding its way onto the field. Good on them. I mean, they've sacrificed so much. It's great to see them succeed. The Knights, geez, I don't know. What do you say?
They were very poor.
Yeah, but what do you do? I mean, they've had some pretty horrific injuries in key positions as well.
But interestingly, it's been in one position. It's mainly been the hooker position. They've
Yeah.
lost about 5 hookers.
and five
Yeah.
heads.
Well, they beat the Cowboys the week before 12-0.
Yep.
And we said...
Oh, the Cowboys were bad.
No, but that's what I'm saying. We didn't think it was all that impressive. Before that, they beat Manly 26-24.
That was a good
So
win.
that was a good win.
Both those teams played well, and that's
So-
where I was hopeful.
And they are certainly on the downside. They're certainly not aiming up for the semis, that's for sure. The way they're playing, they'll just be making up the
They
numbers.
ran right through Connor, the bit that I saw.
Yeah,
Well, but their line defence was so bad, he had no hope.
I know. Like
Yeah,
he was sometimes marking 3 or 4 people. Like
Yeah.
they're going to get around him every time.
Yeah, I
Well, nearly every
Mitchell
time.
Pearce's defence was a bit average on the weekend. I thought.
There was a
100%.
suggestion that forwards did name up.
Well, that'll help.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Mm.
All right, so let's go on to Nestrata Jubilee Stadium, where the Sharks beat the Cowboys 28-12.
And that was closer than it looked, really.
Oh,
I think
Michael
to
Morgan,
begin with.
calf injury probably didn't help.
Mm.
No.
Mm.
Didn't help that he was in my fantasy league team and I needed him to score more than 9 points.
And Tamalolo didn't play again, so
No.
so what do you do with the Cowboys? Tom, if you were the coach, what would you do with the Cowboys?
That's pressure. You mean between now and the end of the season?
Well,
Or-
getting them ready for next year. They're not going to do anything for this
Well,
year.
if you've got
so-
some young players, you probably should blood them, I guess.
Big call.
Well, you can't get any worse. You're not going to make the finals.
Yeah, but
So-
there's no, I keep thinking the same thing, but there's no reserve grade. Like, you're throwing blokes in who haven't
who have
played for
never
a year.
played, that's right.
Well, you bring them off the bench for 10, 15 minutes,
But you can still only have 17.
Sure.
So.
Yep. I don't know. I don't think I thought the Sharks looked good in patches.
Hmm.
I tell you what I thought was impressive was that as what's his name?
Braden Trindle.
Yes.
Mm.
You know, you drop someone like Sean Johnson, Matt Moylan, and you bring in a bloke who's played only a couple of games. That's a ballsy move.
Yeah, it's brave.
That was a very, very big move, and it's paid off. And I think what it's done to, just keep the table then. What it's done to the rest of that team, like it's kind of put out the message that it doesn't matter how big your name is or what your pay packet is, because Moylan is one of the highest paid players in the game. If I don't think you're performing, we're going to put you on the bench. We're going to put you out of the team.
But he hasn't done a lot in the last few weeks either, so they're probably thinking it's not that brave a move because he hasn't offered a lot.
Yeah.
Still,
Trindle's been good. He's been in everything, and I think he laid on a couple of those tries. But again, come back to the fact that the Sharks are just full of big men. Even their outside backs are big. Like Talakai plays centre, and he's a prop.
Yeah.
He's size of a prop.
Yeah. So I love Katoa. Sione Katoa. I've been a fan of his since he made first grade, and he just scores the most spectacular tries.
Yeah,
not that the one on the weekend was particularly spectacular, but he's always in the right spot.
Yeah, because he knows how to finish, and for a young man, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, and the next game on Saturday night was at Panthers Stadium where and this was a tough game.
Yeah, I didn't see
the Panthers beat the Tigers 30-6, and it was brutal at times.
Right. Apparently the Tigers were in it the first 20 minutes or something.
Oh, it was an angry game.
It was an angry game.
And let me tell you, if this was played in the 80s, there would have been about 7 or 8 brawls and players sent off.
Yeah.
There were so many near hits and misses.
And by lashing out with his leg.
Yeah.
I mean, that was...
I don't know. You got a right to play the ball. You can't just keep hanging on.
Yes, I know, but he had let him go when he actually lashed out a second time.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I'm not disagreeing.
He's lucky he didn't connect. Is the point?
Yep. I don't know. Yeah, the Tigers were in it, and to be honest, at halftime 14-6, I actually thought the Tigers were probably ahead.
Really?
Yeah, I thought they were
behind.
I thought they were hanging in.
Yeah, no, see, I thought they were more than hanging in. It was one of those games where they just looked like they were going to score. They had not much possession, and when they did, they looked threatening. And their defence was hurting them. And then in the second half, the Panthers just flicked the switch, and it was see you later.
Yeah.
Which was, if I was going to say, if you're Ivan Cleary, that's where you're happy about, because whatever he said at half time worked, and they just took them apart.
So there was an article in today's paper about travel. The Panthers have had to travel less than any other club.
Yep.
Even less than Parramatta.
Even less than Parramatta. And so they've been able to stay local, and it's helped, well, they're saying it's helped them, whereas clubs like South and the Roosters have travelled 5,000 kilometres or something, and other clubs have even travelled 10,000. I mean, the Cowboys, you expect them to be travelling a lot anyway, but one of the reasons they're saying is the Panthers are going so well is because they can stay close to home, they don't have to travel, and because a lot of clubs, when you travel, you're doing it the same day. So when you're travelling, you're getting tired. When you're staying at home, you're not.
Well,
I don't know how true that is.
Well, I will throw something different at it. I've often said Penrith's lack of success comes from not having any experience. But if you look at that team, Dylan Edwards, Brett Naden, Stephen Crichton, Brian Toho, Jerome Luai, and Nathan Cleary played all their junior football together.
Yes.
This isn't a team that is 2 years old.
No,
this is a team 8 years in the making.
And they're playing like that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Playing like they're just having with mates.
And
add to that their bodies so they can play against.
And add Liam Martin and Tyrone May into that, and you've got a whole bunch of blokes that have been
so many playmakers in that team.
And when you've got, and you said big blokes coming off the bench, they do. They've got the fella that they took from you guys, Leota.
Tedavano.
Oh, Tedavano, yeah.
Leota. They've got Lenu. I think his name is.
Tedavano's playing really.
They've got these big guys that have been out of the clubs, and they're just coming on and doing the job. I think they're a really well balanced team.
I said that about half a dozen weeks ago. It's a balance that I think is so scary about them.
Yeah, what I think is interesting, if you were to pick an Australian side or a State of Origin side right now, very few of those Panther players would be the first ones that would come to mind.
Yeah, but they'd be the
Clearly,
second.
Well, no, that's right. But they wouldn't be the first ones that come to mind. And yet, if you did that with Manly or the Roosters, or that you could name 5 or 6 players that instantly come to mind for those teams.
Actually,
Other than Cleary, there's probably not a lot that you say, first thoughts is them. But I tell you
Maybe
what,
Mansour, but it's probably...
no, you wouldn't say Mansour. You might go James Fisher-Harris.
wouldn't you pick Haddo Carr before you went
he
Mansour?
He's a Kiwi.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he used to,
Wouldn't you pick
yeah.
Haddo Carr before you went Mansour?
Yeah, but I'm just saying Mansour, would you be in the
but
conversation?
I just...
Isaiah Yeo. There you go. 2. Two
Yeah.
maybe.
But that's what I'm finding impressive about the Roosters.
Stephen Crichton.
They're doing it. Well, Stephen Crichton should, yeah.
Liam Martin.
No,
See, that's
that's the thing. Like, State of Origin at the end of the year, it's going to be interesting because they're going to fit all these fullbacks into a team,
It's going to be a backline of fullback.
and you've got blokes like Stephen Crichton.
I wonder if they'll risk Tom seriously.
No, they
playing
shouldn't.
Origin. No,
No, he should say no. I'm not
and
playing.
Stags
this.
might get a run.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to Sunshine Coast Stadium. If we must, where the Storm beat the Sea Eagles 30-6.
And I think there's another team that's getting an unfair advantage because they're going from the bitter freezing COVID cold to a resort. I've been to that resort. I had a weekend away on that resort.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it ain't rough.
I wouldn't expect it would be.
Warm weather, great conditions.
What would you like to say about the game, Brian?
I don't know whether to complain or compliment.
When Adam Fanil-Blake went over, I thought,
Sorry,
go Manly.
Sorry, can I cut? You want to compliment Manly?
Oh,
Melbourne?
I do. It's
Sally, are you listening?
I complimented. I tell you what, I complimented them last week when they lost to Parramatta as well.
Yeah.
I think that they're a well-drilled team, and they are just too fast.
They were incredibly fast.
Man, that left edge.
I can just as a Manly fan, it is very difficult to watch. We must have the slowest back line in the comp.
No, I think Parramatta had it slower this weekend.
No. Overall, we're slower. Trust me. And Melbourne, I've just got pace to burn.
Absolutely.
And some of those passes from Addo Carr back to Olam and Pappenhausen out to Addo Carr.
Yep.
It's just crisp. You can tell that they not only anybody can pass the ball, but they just do it at speed.
Oh, incredible!
And they look dangerous. I could whinge all I liked that Addo Carr's first try was offside by only half a metre, but doesn't matter now. I thought there's lots of things that I could pick on, but I'm not going to, because Melbourne were just good and Manly were slow.
I mean, the Cameron Smith kick from the 40 to an Addo Carr, that's obviously a rehearsed move, but that's just great vision. And I can't stand the bloke, but I mean, he's a genius.
Yeah. And you're right. When Adam Fanil-Blake crashed over, I thought, here we go. Here we go.
You thought it was on.
I thought it was on. I thought, here it comes.
Well, you stayed with him for about 10 minutes.
They stayed with South for about 10 minutes before.
No, we didn't.
Well,
only in the second half. We stayed with him for 10 minutes in the second half.
So,
and things could have been different if Ruben Garrick had, caught the kick from Cherry Evans, and if he hadn't fallen off and let in a try. Things
Cherry
happen.
Evans seems to struggle. Lately, he seems to be struggling. And I'm wondering if he's trying too hard.
But he's trying to carry the team.
It's because we've got no fullback, no 5'8", and no hooker.
Yeah.
He's doing all three jobs.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if anyone out there is on one of those Manly sites, stop bagging him. Cherry Evans, he gets bagged non-stop.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve it.
I think he earns his pace, seriously.
Seriously, defensively he is brilliant. And I can't remember which try it was. It might have been Justin Olam's second. He went around him, and man, there's not a player in the game that would have stopped Olam at that pace, that far out from the line.
No.
And Anyway.
And there should be an investigation because if you watch the pre-show, Cameron Smith had been interviewed, and then Terry Evans came on, or was the other way around or something.
The other way around.
And Cameron Smith either pinched his leg or pulled his hair or something like that.
Pulled his hair on his leg.
And I think that was where it all started to go wrong.
Okay,
There's got to be an investigation. Somebody's got to be accountable for
this. Give him the
this.
hairs back on his leg, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, that's the way it goes. We need pace.
Well, and you're right. They were very, very quick.
Oh,
that left edge of Melbourne was...
Pappenhausen
once Pappenhausen comes into it, that's
12
scary.
months. Pappenhausen's gone from a Papa Who
Yeah.
to being in the conversation that in a few years' time he's going to equal Billy Slater, because he's been coached by him. So, geez.
Yep. All slow.
All right, let's go on to the last game of the round, where GIO Stadium, where the Raiders beat the Bulldogs 34-20. And I tell you what, I thought the Dogs were going to get this one.
Yeah.
Poor
20
dogs.
to 12 at half time.
Poor doggies.
And they hung in longer than usual, and they lasted a whole half. That last try I thought was fantastic. There was nothing on, and they just kept the ball in motion.
Yeah.
It was terrific. You really started to think, well, maybe they can, but.
So that's where that's a bit like the Broncos, where losing's just become a little bit of a habit. I think things the Raiders started to hit back, and the Dogs just.
Well, it's a mindset. They panicked.
They didn't pack it in, but they didn't know how to contain it.
Yeah.
Jack Whiten, though, took the game by the scruff of the neck and said, we're not losing this game.
Yep.
He's sensational.
And so did Papali. Again, they needed someone to step up, and Papali just said, it's me.
Yep.
I'll be the battering ram.
Yep. Starling was excellent too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and he's their third choice hooker.
and he went off for 10 minutes and they scored 2 tries.
I know, and at that point, I'm actually thinking, is that what hurt the Dogs? They go, all right, well, we're up. Was it 20?
Yeah.
Was 20 to 12 at that point.
12 at that point.
We're up against 12 men. We'll hold this 10 minutes.
And it happened on the Raiders line, which means they had to score there. They needed to score and they didn't. And then the Raiders went down in the next set, I think. They might have got a set restart or something and scored straight away, and the rot started from there.
Yep.
Right.
Pretty sad.
Okay, ladder. Who's going to do it?
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay.
Why not? I've got nothing to lose. All right. Panthers running clear, 29 points in first. Storm second, 26. Eels third on 24. That's your top 3, gentlemen. Then we have the Roosters and the Raiders on 22. The Rabbitohs with 20 points in 6th position. Knights 19 in 7th. Sharks 18 in 8th. Then we have the has-beens. Warriors 14 points. Dragons 12. Tigers 12. Seagulls 12. Titans 10. Cowboys 6. Broncos 6. Bulldogs 4.
All right. Let's go on to next week, but when we get to the Knights game, I want to ask you a question. But we'll start off with the Broncos and the Panthers on Thursday night at Suncorp Stadium.
Oh, so we're going to the round, right?
Yeah.
I think that will be a slaughter.
Although it's at Suncorp.
It will be a slaughter.
Oh, so that's good for about 4 points.
Well, it's the market share.
It will be a slaughter.
Yeah.
If the Panthers get on a roll, it will be a slaughter. Because I think they're at the moment playing better than the Roosters, and the Roosters put 58 on them. So,
well, the Panthers are playing with no fear.
yeah.
Yeah, if somebody hits them, they hit back harder. Somebody scores a try, they'll score 2.
Yeah.
They're just too good at the moment.
It's the first game of the tipping round too, so you wear your for and against. It could get very ugly.
I like seriously, and I say this like in all seriousness. They have to win by at least 40, don't they?
Well, I don't think they have to, but
no, but I mean,
they probably will.
But you'd have to think that because as we said this week, Souths came out and made a statement. The Roosters then go, well, you know what? Anything Souths can do, we can do better, and they came out and made a statement.
It's just not true.
So what are the Panthers going to do? Are they going to sit back and go, yeah, we'll just keep winning, or are they going to make a statement? Because this could be a statement game.
Okay, but here's something you need to consider. If you were Ivan Cleary, do you rest someone?
Nope.
3 weeks out, you're 3 points in
Nope.
front. Sorry, 4 weeks out, you're 3 points in front of. Is it the point at which you say, okay, let's just start backing off, let's start resting players?
I guess he reads. The
The Roosters
team.
would do it.
He reads the team, and the team is flying, and if he rests people, he'll actually upset that.
Well, you've got Kickout and Appy out at the moment.
Yep.
Do you really want to rest anyone else? Who are you going to rest anyway?
What would you rest Cleary?
Yeah, Cleary is going to put Burton in. That's the only rest
Oh.
I do.
Holy dooly.
Well,
yeah, that's right.
And that's something you could do, because you know what? Cleary does get injured. At least Burton's played a few games leading into the semis. So
And Burton and Cleary's carrying the. I don't want to give them advice. Seriously, no.
Anyway, if Cleary got injured, wouldn't you move Tyrone May into 5'8", half
Well,
back?
you could do that.
I'd do that.
Where's he playing at the moment?
He played
slot?
second row last
Oh,
week.
really? Wow.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
And he's kicking for tries as well.
Panthers by how many?
At least 40.
Yeah, I have to say that. I think I'll be going plus 30 in my tipping.
All right. Next game is the Knights and the Sharks. Gentlemen, I want to ask you a question. Sharks now have to play. Knights play Sharks. Knights play Roosters. Knights play St George, and then Knights end up with Titans. You think there's a chance that Knights won't win another game?
The Knights, you mean?
The Knights, because none of those games are going to
What
be
was the third game? The Dragons.
Dragons. They only with the Dragons and the Titans.
They can beat the Dragons, I think. The other three? No, I don't know.
But you know what? In saying that, the Knights are this team that could come out and win more as well. I wouldn't write them off, but you're right. They could seriously go no more wins for the season.
Which could open the door then for Warriors or someone like that.
If it's only the Warriors, because the other teams are
Yeah.
not playing well.
Right.
Well, damn, that's hard to hear, Steve, because that could be my team. So they keep throwing it in.
Okay, so McDonald Jones Stadium, where the Knights are playing the Sharks, gentlemen, who do you think's going to win this one?
Jeez, could the Knights be as bad as they were last week?
Yes. And
No.
the Sharks aren't going to let them have it easy.
All right, I'm leaning just towards the Knights. Just.
Why?
They can't be as bad as they were last week.
Can't they?
I don't think the Sharks were impressive this week. I thought they just did what
They
they
did
did.
enough to win.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Knights.
All right, I'm going Sharks. Tom?
McDonald Jones is in there.
Yeah. If it was in Cronulla, I'd probably go Cronulla. It's just the travel.
I'd rather the Sharks lost, to be honest, but I'll go the Sharks.
Cool.
Okay, Friday evening at 8 o'clock is Rabbitohs against the Storm.
Was there a 6 o'clock game?
That was at 6 o'clock.
Oh, sorry. What was the game before we talked about?
Knights, Sharks.
Not Sharks, and then before that...
Oh, that was Broncos Panthers. I've been having trouble with my screen. It's just been doing crazy things.
Just
so I've
listen
been
to
fiddling
us.
around.
We won't lead you
I never
astray.
listen to you.
Well, we will.
Rabbitohs
and Storm.
Okay.
Tough.
It's going to be a high quality game.
If they both play like they have the last couple of weeks, they will.
You know, both teams have got pace.
Yeah, no Latrell Mitchell. Hopefully Johnson and Gagai will be back for South.
Yep.
But Melbourne are also starting to get there, although they've lost Big Nelson
Yeah.
and Sevy, Marion Sevy.
Yep.
I'm still leaning towards Storm.
Storm is just going to get you, I think.
And it's only because they've got Cameron Smith and Munster. Because they're just, I mean, let's face it, they're state of origin and, you know, Australian stars, and they manage the game well.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds, I mean, they are playing well, but are they going to have 3 blinders in a row? Because it's going to have to take a blinder to beat
And
Storm.
a lot of their tries close to the line have been thanks to Latrell's passing too. And the other thing I heard on commentary, which is interesting, I hadn't thought about, was I know Cody Walker can be on and off, but when he's on, the team's sensational.
Yeah.
When he's off, they go into their shell.
Yeah.
Actually,
So if he's overawed, then you could get a high game.
he's really reminding me of Cliffy Lyons at the moment. When he's on, he's on. And the whole team's on.
Cliffy Lyons was good. All right, let's go on to ANZ
Which means Cody
Stadium.
Walker isn't.
No, Cody's good. When he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon we're at ANZ where the Dogs are playing the Titans.
I think this will be a competitive game. Gee.
It's got to be the Titans, though, doesn't it?
You've got to lean the Titans way.
Ooh,
I just want the Dogs to win.
So do I. Don't worry, they're playing Manly the week after.
Oh, there's a win for them.
Oh, yes, that's hard one to pick. On form, you'd have to say it was the Titans, but I'd just
Yeah.
say I'd like to see the Bulldogs win. Not that I've got anything against the Titans, but
All right, let's go to Lotto Land on Saturday evening, where the Sea Eagles are playing the Tigers.
with nothing to play for these teams in many respects.
They might just smash each other.
Well, we lost. We've now lost Ruben Garrick.
What shoulder?
Shoulder.
Yeah, right. That's a goal
And
kicker.
yeah, and that we had another injury out of that game as well. I just can't think who it was off the top of my head right now. So yeah, I think Des will have no choice but to bring in these players that all the Manly fans are talking about.
Well, which one of them played last week by the name of Hopewadi.
Yep.
And everyone raved about, but I didn't see anything.
It was his first game in 20.
No,
He's
I
playing against
understand.
Melbourne. He was playing against Melbourne.
I
Yeah,
understand.
no, but it was his first game in 27 months.
Yeah, I know. But-
Did his ACL, came back 10 minutes into the first game back. Did his ACL?
Well, then they shouldn't be building him up the way they're doing.
No,
Let
they
the kid
shouldn't.
Get some credibility.
They shouldn't,
some
and
confidence first.
That's incredibly disappointing, and that's why I'm frustrated, because I think we have to do something, but I don't think going to these young guys is necessarily the answer. But anyway, Manly will win. Des will make a change somewhere, and we'll put this pace into our back line from these players we don't have.
I think the Seagulls are ultimately more intimidating than the Tigers.
Yeah.
I mean, despite all their, I think the Seagulls have got the attitude to beat the Tigers. They may not have the troops, but I back their attitude.
Oh, look,
No. So you're,
I think our forward pack's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fanoa Blake, Marty Tapau, Paseka off the bench, Thompson,
Yep.
Sirinen, Jake.
okay, so you're going Manly, you're going.
I'll go Manly in this tight one.
I'm going Tigers.
Oh, you hateful, spiteful man.
Let's go to Saturday.
I'm glad I didn't pick the
Saturday.
Broncos.
Game of the
night,
rounds. It's the big game of the rounds.
Raiders against the Roosters in Canberra.
In Canberra.
Cold Canberra.
Roosters will still win.
I've got to wait till tomorrow night to see who's been named. I mean, Sunnyville's apparently been named.
So if you have a few players out, you won't be going to the Roosters?
No. But I'll feel more confident, particularly if Kiri's back. The thing about the Raiders is they play 80 minutes. They're never beaten. The Roosters at the moment are finding out how to score points, and they've got a good defence. So,
Yeah.
on paper they should beat the Raiders. But the Raiders get up for these games.
I'd actually be seeing the Raiders win this one, to be honest with you. I just think they're playing better than the Roosters are at the moment.
I dispute that, but
Yeah, I dispute that too.
yeah, I think the Roosters are much more organised than the Raiders. The Raiders play that off the cuff, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
That's what makes them dangerous.
But I think a good defence, that's what happened in the grand final. A good defence was what held them out, and I think they'll be aiming to do the
It'll be
same
interesting
thing.
to see how Sonny Bill Williams goes.
Yeah, I mean, they reckon 20 minutes off the bench is all he'll get,
Oh, yeah.
and he might be lucky to make that.
Yeah.
But Toops will be back again. Cordner will be back. They're getting their structure. Look, I think the Roosters should win this game.
And you're going to Roosters as well?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go on to Sunday afternoon, where the Warriors are playing the Parramatta Eels at Central Coast Stadium. Last week, Parramatta missed 53 tackles against South.
This is make or break for the Eels.
This
They're
really
in third position, but this is make or break
This
for
is
the
a
Eels.
break for the Eels. I'm going Warriors.
So what's the points difference
I'm
against?
sick of picking the Eels. I've picked them 2 weeks in a row.
They're 24 and Roosters and Raiders are 22.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if the Eels lose this game, it puts them on thin ice because the Raiders have almost got the same points difference.
Yeah.
If the Raiders manage to beat the Roosters by 10, it's going to make it interesting. In fact, the Raiders would go into third position. That's what would happen. And we could go into third position. So go the Warriors.
So, Brian, you're going Warriors?
Yeah.
Yeah, go the Warriors.
Yep.
Yep.
I think Parramatta will bounce back.
No Dylan Brown.
No Dylan Brown.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And the
Depends on how many.
the
Depends
forwards
on.
haven't been firing.
It'll depend on how many penalties they lie down for.
Spoken like a true Manly fan.
Oh,
Right.
come on.
I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's go on to Sunday.
You and Bradley are
afternoon.
unbelievable. It's a wonder you don't back for the same team, seriously. Honestly.
Cowboys against St George Illawarra Country.
geez. You got a call?
Where's that Country
Anybody got a
Bank
call?
Stadium?
This will be a boring game, won't it?
It will.
The Dragons.
Not for supporters of those clubs.
The Dragons should win this, but they should have won last week.
Yeah.
They should have won a few games recently.
And I don't think the Cowboys can do it without Morgan and I think
Tamalolo.
full strength, yes, but they're nowhere near it, and they've got less depth than us. Dragons.
Yeah, Dragons.
Oh come on, really?
Yes, I'm going Cowboys.
Oh my goodness.
Barry, he was
Seriously.
your friend.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
You know, Barry. He doesn't. I think he picks against our teams just out of spite.
Come on,
I think you're right.
it's in Queensland. It's at home for the Cowboys.
Hang on.
So it's in Queensland, and because it's in Queensland, he picked.
So, hang on. Did he pick the Roosters? No.
No.
Did he pick Manly? No. Did he pick the Dragons? No. You know, they're all favourites, but we won't pick them. Far out. No wonder you're coming last in the footy ticket.
No, you're actually behind me, Brian.
Yeah, I've had the last 2 weeks have been shocking.
Yes, you're behind me.
And you've played your joker yet, have you?
Yeah, I have.
You have.
Yeah, you're the only one that hasn't.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saving
All right.
I don't know what you're saving it for.
I know what I'm saving it for.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, that brings us to the end of the show. Brian, you got anything intelligent you want to end with?
Go Manly. The young guys with all the pace, they'll come in.
I-
We'll do the
I
Tigers
did
this
ask for
weekend.
intelligence, and that's what I get.
And I think the Raiders' third choice hooker could be Manly's first choice hooker.
All right, Tom, anything you want to end with?
The battlers from Bondi are getting off their
Oh.
crutches, and here they go.
That irritates me so much. It's not funny.
And I'll
What,
keep
the
using
battlers
it
for
then.
Bondi or the crutches?
Oh, both. Like how pathetic.
I mean, Souths have got 8 players out. You've got,
Yeah.
what, 8 or 9? You've
Yeah.
got 17 or 18.
Ah, 2 more this week. It's all right.
It's easier to talk about who you've got in rather than who you've got out.
Ian Dessie's about to
Who's
put
left?
on a jersey.
Oh,
Bring back Cliffy.
Oh, yeah. They should,
And Beaver.
they should bring back Cliffy and Beaver and
Yeah.
say, look, you just can't tackle them.
They can't bring back Cliffy because he can't smoke in the change room.
We
So,
heard that Kevin Walters is talking about asking GI to come back and play, and SOS to Cam Smith. I mean, that shows how desperate they are. You know, you can't move on. You've got to look at the past.
Yep. All right.
thank you for watching. That was NRL from the Sidelines with Tom, Brian and Steve, and we will do it all again next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later.